Implementing feedback-informed treatment, the best way to think of this, I believe, is as learning a second language. If you start, you can buy a phrase book and go to a country, maybe order food and get some simple directions. But to really master the language, you have to be immersed in the culture. You have to have different experiences, and your language is only going to be sufficient to cover what the challenge is at the moment. The longer you're at this, the more thorough your ability to speak and understand the language. It's very similar with FIT. We find, and research supports, that it takes between 2 and 3 years before you see the benefits of feedback-informed treatment in your organization. That doesn't mean that you can't adopt the measures. The measures are a little bit like that phrase book. But to really be able to use them to inform the treatment process, it's going to take time, investment of learning and capital in the organization to computer programs, etc., and then real world experience, plus feedback from the users of the computer program and the measures to really make it fit in your organization and work well. The question is about how the size of an organization impacts FIT. So let's think about this again as learning a second language. You have one person really interested and motivated to learn that language. They pick up a phrase book. They may even log on to and pay for access to a computer program that will help them. And there are difficulties and challenges just with that. But now if you put 20 people in a room and you're all supposed to achieve the same level of competence in speaking that second language, there are going to be additional challenges. So yes, the size of an organization does affect the implementation process, how much time it's going to take. And yet I would also say I get so many calls from managers who say, look, we have a really motivated group. We don't think it's going to take a year. We think we can do this in 2 months. And typically the way they're thinking about FIT is as administering these 2 measures. And I can tell you, I could teach you how to do that in about 30 seconds, but that's not the point. The point is making the measures have meaning and informing clinical practice. And that, again, is likely to take time. How long? Well, I would say between 2 and 3 years for a medium-sized organization. I'm always intrigued by organizations that pay for access to one of these amazing computer programs that have been tested in diverse settings, tens of thousands of diverse settings around the world and on millions of clients. And then they never use those particular programs. And yet, if you look at most people's bookshelves, they have more books on those shelves than they've actually read. So am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. But if you avail yourselves of the support that many of these computer programs offer, and that's available through the International Center for Clinical Excellence, you can really get the value out of the purchase. So I would suggest taking the time to really explore through your transition oversight group what kind of support will work for your organization the best. In the new treatment manuals for feedback-informed care, we break the implementation process down to 4 stages, and each of those stages has a particular challenge, tasks, and supports. So I would suggest, in terms of understanding what those challenges are, that people pick up the new feedback-informed treatment manuals and go through the process step by step. I was working with an organization a few years ago. They had accessed the manuals. They'd actually purchased access to one of the computer programs, and they told clinicians to start using the tools. About 2 years later, I heard through the grapevine that the organization had decided to do what they called FIT Light. FIT Light, in their opinion, was simply administering the measures with all the clients. Even that didn't work. I don't believe there is any such thing as FIT Light. And why is that? Paperwork is something that already burdens clinicians. Adding 2 measures that don't really inform clinical practice, they are going to see as a waste of time. And if they do it at all, it will be in a perfunctory manner. So take the time to form this transition oversight group and follow the steps of implementation. You'll be far ahead of the game at the end of the implementation process. I think the challenge of implementation is often ascribed to feedback-informed treatment, but there's a whole area of research that's emerged in the last decade and a half called implementation science. So what I can tell you is that the challenges of implementation have nothing to do with FIT. It's about changing agency, culture, and practice. And researchers, I think, have done a very good job at identifying the stages that apply regardless of what you're implementing, whether it's feedback-informed treatment or some other evidence-based practice.